should guarantee membership of regions such as Catalonia or Scotland that wish to secede. My name is Owen, and I'm here with Anne. The speeches are just like last time, 5 minutes. There will be bangs after the first and fourth minute. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, then without further ado, I'd like to call on the first speaker for government.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. Okay. First of all, let's take a look at definitions. What's the meaning of guarantee? This means that EU would recognize this Catalonia or Scotland as countries. And about membership, this means that they will gain all the rights which normal membership has, which includes the right to vote. And I think that this is the main reason, the main difference between the status that they have now and the status that they'll have after passing this motion. Because I mean, now they can apply for EU funds. They can, but what they cannot do is say their opinion and have a word in EU. So this is the main difference that will appear after passing this motion. Okay, we have three arguments. First, the legitimacy of EU. It's about the legitimacy of EU. Second, about the need of doing this. And third, about the tensions that will lower after passing this motion. Okay, let's speak about the first one, the legitimacy of EU. Well, we are evolving. EU is not, nowadays EU is more for the people than for the state. So EU is fighting for equality, is fighting for tolerance, and so that's why. And that's why EU should listen to all of its members, of its people, word. So this is why EU as just a second. EU is not nowadays. It is not just an economical union anymore. It's something between a state and a union. So it should listen to its people. So that's why we think that EU should have the legitimacy to do this. Yes, please.
Is EU only a social union nowadays?
Pardon?
Is the EU only a social union?
No, it's not only a social one. It is also an economical, but what I was pointing out is that it is not only an economical, but also a social one. Okay, so, and moreover, by passing this motion, EU won't force the other countries to recognize Catalonia or Scotland as a state. But it will only give them the chance to have a word in EU. So if the other states don't agree, for example, with these regions as being separated, they that's not a problem, because EU only gives them the right to speak. Okay. About the need, the second argument, about the need. Why do we really need to pass this motion? Well, we are speaking about regions which tried to separate from, for example, Catalonia tried to separate from Spain, and they tried to separate for a reason. And that reason is that they're different. They have different opinion. They are not represented. They don't feel like they're a part of Spain, for example. So that's why they wanted to separate. So we think that the easiest way to avoid conflicts, because their voices are not heard and they are ignored, and they want to separate it. We think that the easiest way is first to accept them as a separate entity, because they are a separate entity. They have different they have different views, and that's why they want to separate. So we think that instead of ignoring them, we should give them the chance to speak up, and maybe in time to gain autonomy between the other countries. But this is a very a slow process, and we think that the best way to do this is by passing this motion. Thank you.
So I'd like to thank the speaker for her speech. You call on the first speaker for opposition.
Hello, dear judges, dear opponents, dear co-opposition. What the proposition is trying to do here is really a great thing. They see that there is a need for Catalonian people, for example. We think it's a good example. We're going to pursue this example. They feel that the Catalonian people have a need, that their opinions differ from the other Spaniards, and that they lack representation. And that's all great, and we think that in the end, yes, they should get that. But why this kind of emotion and this kind of a plan does not work is what I'm going to talk to you about in the next 5 minutes. And I would really much like to do a few rebuttals and give you a lot of substantial information on the first point of the legitimacy. And we didn't hear the third argument. And I would like to rebut it also, just based on the name. And then I would like to bring our own argument about the countries taking full responsibility and not having advantages. Now, first of all, they told about how the EU is illegitimate to do this kind of a thing. We do not think that. They told that it's not only an economic union, it's also a social union, and that's all very great, and it can do a lot of changes in our society, but this is not one that we should allow it. Because the proposition told us that we must not take everyone into consideration, but we must, because the European Union is based on the fact that we have our own commissions that do make decisions based on the fact that how countries how countries feel about things. No, thank you. Now, what we think about this European Union point is the fact that we are undermining the European Union authority, because we are sending. Why haven't we accepted Turkey into the European Union? Because it hasn't settled its quarrels with Greece, and that is the reason why we cannot accept it, because it's not stable. Now, in this case, we can see that clearly Catalonia has not settled its disagreement with Spain, and if we would allow Catalonia to become a state on its own, then it would mean that we would put it into a closed and isolated room inside inside Spain, and that would mean that we would send a signal that they can rely on the European Union and we are going to protect them from Spain. No, they have to do it on their own. They have to settle their disagreements, and then when all of the states, for example, if all of the states are good with it, then the EU can do that, but not just like forcing some states to take this decision. And now, yes?
What's the difference of being part of the EU as a part of another nation and being a part of the EU as a different state?
Well, the difference is that if we allow it to become a part of the European Union, in that case we could allow Turkey a long time ago to be in here. And what I have what I have been telling you is the fact that if we support them, even though that Spain is absolutely against the fact that that Catalonia becomes independent. There is the fact that we are actually forcing Spain to agree to something that it does not want to agree with, and that will turn Spain against the European Union. And we want to be all friends in this union because we want this union to work.
Question,
Now,
please.
no, thank you. Now, talking about this full responsibility point is the fact that we cannot give you a helping hand when you cannot do it on your own. This is not what the European Union is supposed to do. We cannot give you a free pass to becoming a member state just because you think you deserve it. No, you have to earn it, just the way that Turkey has to earn it, just the way that Macedonia has to earn it. You must settle all of the quarrels that you have with the countries that don't like you. It is not a solution if we accept you, no matter that some people don't like you, and tell those countries, even if they have done nothing wrong, if they have solid reasons for not accepting you, no, thank you. You're not allowed to ask any more questions. Even if we do that, then we're undermining the European Union authority, and we are not treating states equally. And the ground principle of the EU is equal treatment, is giving everybody an equal chance, and that means that that we cannot ignore one state and prefer the other just because we think one or two countries, or maybe even more than two, but not all think it's okay, because we think that a country cannot stand if it is not accepted in the society and thoroughly, and for that reason I beg you to oppose.
Let's thank the speaker for her speech and call on the second speaker for the government.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that I'm really happy that what the opposition wants is equal treatment, because by a coincidence, that's exactly what we are giving them by our plan. Well, now in my speech, first of all, I'll address why the problem of Turkey and our problem is a total different issue. Then I will explain you why this is a European Union business. And in the last point of rebuttal, I'm going to talk about why this is not forcing at all. And then I move back to rebuilding our constructive case. So first of all, what we have to realize is that, yeah, what they want is to hear everybody, and that is exactly what we're doing by our case, by providing these people that are from different nations, because like obviously they have different background, they have different problems, and that's exactly the reason why they want to separate. We are providing them the chance as a member state to speak up and to talk about the problems, because it's much more effective. Now, first of all, let's take a look at the Turkey and why there's a total different case. First of all, we are not talking about accepting them into EU, because by a coincidence they are already in the EU as a part of Spain and as a part of Great Britain. They already passed all the requirements that were there, so there is no problem, because they are already in the EU. The only difference is we are making, no thank you, is that we're gonna listen to them as a separate entity, because we believe that their opinions are not cannot never be properly represented by their home countries, because they obviously have tensions and they want to separate. No thank you. They want to separate from each other, and that is exactly the point. So if we allow them in the EU, what's going to happen is that right now exactly all their problems they have, they could be able to go there, speak up and talk about them, and we will be able to address the people, no thank you, in these countries much better than we are now. So we're going to treat everyone equally and treat these people from Catalonia and Scotland the same way as we treat people from England and a different part of Spain. Now let's talk about why it is a European business. What they were talking about is that it's... Oh, no, okay. What they were talking about that states should like solve their issues themselves. But ladies and gentlemen, come on, we are European Union for a reason. And if there is a problem of a member state in European Union, it is a problem of the whole European Union. That is why all of the countries are sending enormous amounts of money into Greece. Because if they have problems, we have problems. And the same way, if there is Catalonia and Scotland having problems with their home countries, it is a problem of the European Union. And we believe that these countries do deserve to be recognized, and that's why we are going to do this step, because we believe that when people, no thank you, people in these countries have different backgrounds and different problems, there is no reason to force them to be part of this their state, and that's why EU is gonna just show off its opinion. And right now we have to realize what's the difference between EU level and state level, and no thank you, and why nobody is forcing the Spain towards recognizing anybody. Because what we are doing, no thank you, is that we are not forcing the Spain or England or like Great Britain to recognize them as a separate nation. They can still view them as like part of their territory, and it's up to them how they're going to deal with these issues. What we are doing is that we're giving rights to these people on the European level, in European Parliament, and in European Union. What's going to happen on state-to-state level is still their issue, and we are not directly infringing these relationships at all. So right now, okay.
What is the problem if we check them again as another member state that wants to get in EU? What is the problem? Why we don't do this check again?
What check?
Of Catalonia. Catalonia to apply as a new member
Okay,
state.
first of all,
EU.
the problem with Catalonia and Scotland is that they are not recognized as state. And that's why it's not like, and even if, like, okay, we can check them again, but there's no problem because we see that we already accepted them, and that would be like saying, oh, well, we did a mistake, we accepted somebody we didn't want to, and that's something that European Union should definitely not do. Okay, well, first of all, now we have to realize what's the legitimacy. We have to realize that these countries and these people in the countries, if they want to be represented, and if they feel like they are not exactly Spain or not exactly Britain, they have the right to be represented. This is really an important point because that's what we were talking about, because right now EU is on the point when it's going to more personal level. It's going to be an institution for its citizens, not for its states. That's why we created the European Parliament. And we think that this is a step forward in this process, because right now we're going to accept those people instead of accepting the government, the opinions of the government. And this is exactly where we see the future, because then it can address the problems much better because it has a closer touch. And now further, what is really important is that this is going to calm down the tensions, because what's going to happen is that right now the people in Catalonia and Scotland are being really angry because they are lacking the rights and lacking the things they want. By giving them this chance, they will be properly represented in the European Union, so then they can deal with the issues with their home countries much better than they can now do in current situation. That's why I'm proud to propose.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First off, I would like to start with what this motion actually requires from us to develop. What the government should have proven to us is what are the reasons for Catalonia and Scotland to get into the European Union. They did not state why we should get them full membership. They did not state how they deserve the full membership, and they did not state in which ways this full membership would apply to Scotland and Catalonia. We do not see how Scotland has made benefit to the European Union. We do not see how Catalonia can make benefit, and you haven't proven that Catalonia and Scotland have made benefit to the European Union. So we do not see why membership should be provided to countries that do not benefit the European Union. Next. We see that the countries will, if Catalonia and Scotland become countries, they will already have the chance to apply. They will already be. They will have the chance to apply. They already have. They already have. No, thank you. They have fulfilled the criteria, so the getting into the European Union will be much easier for them, and they would get the membership a lot easier. So, no, thank you. Another point. By saying that the people choose to get out from the people from Catalonia choose to get out of Spain, they also choose to get out of the European Union. They also choose to get out as an independent country. Oh, no, thank you. They choose to get out of the European Union, and this still we do not know whether. No, thank you. Whether if we accept Catalonia in EU as a country, we do not know if they will or want the wish to get in the European Union. When we do not know whether they will want to get out of the European Union next.
Information.
No, thank you. We do not know whether a country would choose to go to the European Union, and we do not want to impose getting in the European Union as they get out of the. No, thank you. The next point is about Spain.
Before that,
Okay.
people should not be put into the situation while they choose between the EU and their happiness.
Okay. The reason why we don't want Catalonia to be accepted in the for example, Catalonia to be accepted in the European Union is because we do not know the reaction that it would cause. We do not know how Spain will react, and if we do not know how Spain will react, we do not know. We are not equal towards all the countries that are in the European Union and are members in the European Union. If we give full membership to the European Union, we are not equal to Spain, which is a member for so many countries, and Catalonia is choosing to get out of Spain, to get out of the European Union, and thus chooses to say no to the European Union and form an independent country that is out of Spain, which is a member of the European Union. By this,
Clarification?
okay.
So we don't know if passing this motion will do harm, but we do know that passing this motion will give these people the chance to speak out, which they wanted. So
They will have the chance to speak up. They will have the chance to apply, and it will be easier for them to apply because they have already fulfilled the criteria as a part of Spain. As you already said, we must be equal to all of the countries. If we have to be equal to all of the countries, we have to be equal to Catalonia as we are equal to Spain. We have to be equal into the rights that Spain has, and we have to be equal to the rights that Catalonia has. We cannot give Catalonia more rights by giving the full membership in the European Union because Spain. We do not know the direction that Spain will have to this acceptance in the European Union. Because of all these reasons, because we see that we haven't seen the reasons why these countries should be accepted in the European Union. We don't see. We see that it would be even easier to apply later because we see that it won't be equal if we guarantee full membership. We beg you to oppose this motion.
Okay, I'd like to thank the speaker for his speech and call on the first speaker from the second corner to speak.
Ladies and gentlemen, today what the opposition wants to do is not fair for the people. What the opposition does is to put people to choose. People that are citizens of the United Europe nowadays, they put them to choose between being an European citizen and their freedom, their happiness, and avoiding their conflicts with the state they are in. And this is not a fair choice to be put into the people, because it's like asking a woman, it's like making a woman choose between being a career woman and having a family, and this is not fair. Even though at some time she could do both, it is not fair for a time to make her choose between these two. They should have the right, as they have already been part of the European Union, they should have the right to keep being in the European Union even though they are not still in that country. And through my speech I'm going to show you, first of all, why should EU guarantee these things, and secondly, what are the bad things that's going to happen if we do not guarantee this membership. First of all, why should the EU guarantee? Because these states, or these to become states, have already been in the EU. So these states have already met the standards that EU has. So these states already go and work after the rules that EU functions on. So these states are not like Turkey's case that doesn't give freedom of speech. These states are exactly like the other these going to be states are exactly like the other member states from the European Union. Moreover, the Europeans should guarantee this because it's their right that they have won through history, because they have already been part of this European Union. If they want to make a choice and get out of a nation, they should have already won their right to be a member state. And why it's so? Because let's look at the French law about property, or European law about property. When you are using a house for more than 5 years, then, and nobody comes and claims it, then that house is yours, becomes your property. It's like this in European Union. When you have been a member state already, or when you have been part of the European Union already, only because you want to become a nation should not take you the right to continue being a member state. Furthermore, if EU doesn't do if EU doesn't guarantee this right, EU shows that he doesn't respect the choice that people want to make. EU shows that he doesn't really. The EU shows that it doesn't really want these two countries to split, that it doesn't really want this to happen. And this is not good, because first of all we should put the people's choice and what people want to do, and on the second thing we should put what other states want to do and this institution wants to do. Moreover, let's talk about what would happen if we wouldn't guarantee this membership. First of all, we would have economic effects for the European Union and for the states. Let's talk about Scotland. Let's imagine Scotland divided by the UK. We know that most of the agriculture and most of the products are from the UK, that come from the UK, are made in Scotland. So if Scotland wouldn't be a member state in the European Union after they divided, then the European Union would first of all lose a market, an open market where they can bring new products. They second of all would lose a place from where they can buy things and give to other countries. So this would mean that they would lose money. Moreover, they would lose. Let's talk about education and how European students from other countries can go to Scotland and have free education. No, thank you. And have free education. That would mean that European Union would lose a great ally in economy and in education. And this would further on. Moreover, if we do not do this, then we may risk that the conflicts will arise furthermore, because there are some these countries want to divide, yeah. But now what EU does without guaranteeing this membership, it's to put another boundary when people want to choose whether or not to divide from the UK. And we say that this is not right, because EU has no right to put this boundary between the choice of the people. And we say that if this boundary disappears, then people would choose more easily what they want to do, and we don't have to balance the advantages of being in the European Union and the disadvantages of staying with the UK. Would choose for their own, would take the better choice for them. And we believe that for this we make sure that conflicts won't happen anymore. So please, because we want peace and we believe in economics, please approve this motion.
I thank the speaker for the speech and call on the first speaker for the second opposition.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. First of all, we liked very much the analogy with the mother, and this is what I'm going to talk about, the mother that wants a baby and also wants a job. Well, mother has first to stay home to give birth to that child and then came to the job. This is what we sustain today, that firstly, Spain, Catalonia or Scotland has to construct their countries and then to be checked by EU and then to apply for a EU membership. This membership shouldn't be guaranteed as granted, shouldn't be taken as granted. Okay, till here we have a government that said nothing about why is bad to do this check again, why is bad to double check these countries before becoming membership. And we have an opposition that said about no, thank you. spoke about the equality value, not about not treating equally those countries, and the conflict with Spain. What I'm going to bring you in the debate is about, beside the fact that we'll not be equal to those countries, to these regions to get guaranteed membership, there is a problem about instability. First of all, a region is not the same as the country. First of all, those are simply regions, those that are not countries, are not finalized, are not completed countries. So they're not the same. We risk a lot of instability, which we think today is not okay for EU or for the country. No, thank you. No, thank you. And about the conflict with Spain, this is another interesting point. Beside the idea that Catalonia and Spain have a conflict, we have to take into consideration that Catalonia is the most, no thank you, Catalonia is the most developed economic region in Spain, and Spain is in a big economical crisis. What will happen when Catalonia, encouraged by this measure, will separate from Spain, and then Spain will be more in crisis? 1 minute, 1 second. Spain will be nothing. Spain will be more in crisis, and yes.
Wouldn't the instability be bigger if this region stays in the nation and where it started?
No, it's about this instability comes from the point that we not check these countries. If we have no control about these countries, you just say that, oh, you're okay, you can came here with we don't know nothing about your country, you don't have a form of government, you don't have nothing, and we just say, oh, you're okay under another government, so you may be okay, but nothing. But this can cause a lot of instability and a lot of economical, political, social instability. Yes.
Please explain us what harm can be caused by the fact that these regions will have the right to speak up loud for their rights. So we don't force the other countries to recognize it.
It's nothing. It's not about not letting them to speak, but it's about letting them to speak after giving birth to the baby. That is what we want today, because we consider it's very harmful and it's risky to just do two things at once, to create a country and to automatically give membership to those countries. So we. If we don't have any reason not to do this check, if we have no harm not to do this check, we consider that for the value of equality, for the value of taking some extra measures and taking into consideration the economic crisis and the social problem that are nowadays in the EU, consider that we should do this double check. We should check these countries again, and also. We think that, as I said before, this measure will encourage more Catalonia or Scotland to separate from countries, from their countries, from Spain, for example, and this can bring big economical crisis, as I explained in the case of Spain, where it already is in big crisis, and Catalonia is the biggest and the most developed region in that area. So we consider for a security feature, vote for this motion.
I'd like to thank the speakers for the speech and call up the final speaker for the
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so basically what we are talking about, firstly I would like to try to show you why the second opposition didn't make such a good work as we could think, and why their model wouldn't work in the reality. And second, I would like to show you the main principle, the main key about what we are actually talking here about the values and about the mentioned principles. So, First of all, the second opposition mentioned that by not providing this right to be a member of the UA, we somehow harm the stability, and we were told that the state is not equal, is not the same as the country. However, I didn't catch the difference between these two, and I think there was a lack of explanation in these statements, and no, thank you. And so the reason why we not consider this information as relevant. Another statement made by the second opposition is that the Catalonia is the richest part of Spain, and division of Catalonia from Spain would cause the more serious economic crisis in Spain. However, also in this case, we are not told any explanation why this should happen and how should it happen, because what we are actually providing to you is the membership of Catalonia in the UA, and so the free market and the European Union trade will be provided. So this was just only 2 points which I consider whether or not as explained as should be. And now the main principle, the main aim what we are talking about. So European Union was created on the basis of certain values, on protecting these values, and of course on the economic, also on the economic reasons. So the European Union wants to somehow provide opportunities and do not want to restrict its citizens and its members. And what we are talking about is whether if the providing a membership, guaranteeing a membership of Scotland or Catalonia in the European Union will lead to the direct support of the division, and which will directly cause that Spain and the UK will somehow feel disgust towards the European Union, and so it can create some certain tension. However, what we think, and what is based on the European Union's principles and values, is that the European Union should provide an opportunity and should provide the opportunity to listen and to express the opinions, and only this way the European Union can somehow move forward and can achieve its main goals and its the development of and the principle of the membership to become free and so on. What I want to say is that by not guaranteeing the membership in the European Union, there are certain threats which can directly show the European Union that the European Union does not accept the division of these two of the Scotland and Catalonia. And yes, please.
First of all, the European Union is still an economic union, so you cannot allow disputes with certain countries.
Pardon?
I think that first of all, European Union is still an economic union.
Yes,
so
it is. Thank you. Yes, it is an economic union, but as Carmen said, it also focuses on the social issues. So the aims of the European Union. So what I want to say is that if there is not guaranteed a place for the Scotland or the Catalonia in the United Nations, the European Union, there can be a serious economic threat for these nations, which will result in direct. These nations will not be provided an opportunity actually to divide, because if there is not possibility to have an international trade, there is nowadays not possible to divide, because it would dewaste their economic systems. And also, by not providing the opportunity to guarantee membership to Scotland and Catalonia, it would provide restrictions for the European Union citizens, as my speaker said, for either schools or in other areas. And our aim and our point of view is that the European Union, by not guaranteeing membership for Scotland in the European Union, will directly show that she or the European Union is against this division, and it contradicts the main aims and values of the creation of the European Union. Thank you.
Thank the speaker for the speech. You call the final speaker for the.
Hello everyone. I'll try to summarize the debate by comparing what will happen if we actually take the model through and what is going on right now. We, as the opposition today, stand for a healthy baby, so to say. We want a stable union in Europe. What we think is that the model will only create more problems, whereas it will actually gain no benefits, of which I shall talk in the arguments that I'm going to present to you. Firstly, I will talk of stability, so to say, what will happen if we carry this plan through. Secondly, I will talk about equality, so to say, the role of the EU. And thirdly, I will actually talk what will really change, which, by the way, is nothing. So, moving on to stability. What we have right now is that the regions that we're talking of, like Catalonia and Scotland, have some sort of problems with the country that they're a part of. So what will happen if the EU will say that we support the fact that you are your own nation, is that the countries that right now own these regions will become angry. For example, as my partner brought out, Catalonia is a huge economic resource for Spain, which means that Spain would be really angry, and that would cause anger in the European Union, and they will Spain, which is a very big and important part of EU, will just be settled to do everything that's possible to get Catalonia back, which will mean that we will not have a reasonable discussions in the union itself. But what's the purpose of a union is actually stability. Which brings me to, to the role of the EU. What we want in EU is stability and development, and how we want it is that we create it through countries, through, for example, governments, and the EU can't really help, because even if the Catalonian people will say that, hey, we have a problem with Spain, then the EU will not definitely interfere into Spain, which will actually solve no problem. It will only create problems for the EU, because the union will become more fractioned, as I said, and it will just create more problems. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so first you are saying that it is okay for these countries to separate. We just need a second verification. And now you're saying that no, it is not okay for them to separate because this would lead to conflict.
I'm saying nothing about separation. I'm just saying that what sort of a signal it will send to rest of the countries, especially the countries that used to have which control the region right now. So the first argument was that the stability will be lost entirely, especially in the union, and that is something that we do not want. No, thank you. Secondly, moving on to equality. We have these regions which have problems with the countries that they belong to, and we think that this is the country's problem, not the EU's problem. And in order to get help from the EU, it has to become a country first. And then, after passing through the second check, so to say, only then the EU can actually help and do something.
Point of information.
Because, no thank you, EU is still an economic union, and it was created as such, and we think that this, to this day, is the most important role of it. And therefore we do not think that the EU has to interfere with such problems. We think it's the country's problem. So, moving on to the third point, is that a voice in the EU will not actually help. As I mentioned before, we might give these nations a voice in the EU, but it won't actually help, because EU cannot fly into Spain, for example, and solve these problems. As I said before, we think it's the country's problem. So even if we give them the voice, they cannot, and the right to speak, they cannot realize its rights. It will not actually benefit the situation in any way whatsoever. What I said today was that firstly, we will lose all of the stability that we have right now. We will lose stability inside the union, we will lose stability within the country itself. Secondly, I told you about equality and how a country has to become a country first in order to receive help from the EU. And thirdly, I told you about how we will actually receive no benefits if we carry through the model. So if we get no benefits from the model and there are only harms, so I beg you to oppose.
I'd like to thank all the speakers for their speeches. If you want to head outside, you can shake hands outside and then we can go back.